Funding for this video series is generously provided by the University of Idaho Extension's Innovative Project Award. Welcome! This is the third video in the video series on Understanding International Trade, the Basic Ideas. Episode 2, World Supply and Demand. Recall in the last video, we discovered that our friend Joe Vandal will specialize in producing potato chips according to his comparative advantage. Joe decides that he wants to export potato chips to Mars. In return, Joe will import memory chips from Mars. We also learned in the last video that the Martians will specialize in producing memory chips according to their comparative advantage. The Martians want to export the memory chips to Joe, and in return, they will import potato chips from Joe. Both Joe and the Martians want to make a trade deal with each other. What do we mean by a trade deal? Joe and the Martians have to agree on how many memory chips Joe can get from the Martians in exchange for 1 unit of potato chips. In this video, we call this ratio the exchange rate. What do we know about this exchange rate? In short, it must be a number that no less than 0.5 and no greater than 2. Why is that? Remember what we calculated last time? Joe's opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of potato chip is half unit of memory chips. The Martian's opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of potato chips is 2 units of memory chips. This information will influence the trade negotiation between Joe and the Martians in the following ways. If the exchange rate is less than 0.5, then Joe would rather produce the memory chips himself. How come? If the exchange rate is less than 0.5, then Joe gets less than half of the memory chip for 1 unit of potato chips if he trades with the Martians. But if Joe produces 1 less unit of potato chips, he can use that amount of time to produce exactly half a memory chip. It won't worth it for Joe to trade with the Martians. Similarly, if the exchange rate is greater than 2, then the Martians would rather produce the potato chips themselves. Using exactly the same argument, we can show that it won't worth it for the Martians to trade with Joe. This means that the only possible range of exchange rates that both parties can agree on must be greater than 0.5 and no greater than 2. You may wonder, which point between 0.5 and 2 is the exact exchange rate on their agreement? To answer this question, we need more information. In our story, the hours of labor required table reflects Joe and the Martians' productivity of producing potato chips and memory chips, which is supply side of information. To get the exact exchange rate, we also need information from the demand side, such as the consumer preferences for potato chips and memory chips. Which one do they like better? In this video, we will not explore how to determine the exact exchange rate due to lack of information. The bottom line is, we know the exchange rate is expected to be somewhere between 0.5 and 2. Otherwise, the trade won't happen. For those of you who are interested in this topic, you are welcome to leave your comments and thoughts in our webpage. We can have further discussion in our advanced trade learning videos in the future. In the real world, it is possible that the exchange rate is not in the expected range and trade still happened. It does not mean the economics is wrong. This means that there could be other factors that come into play when Joe and the Martians make the trade deal. Transportation cost is one of them. Of course, there are also other factors such as culture, politics, etc. that are not captured in our simple story. In the intro video for this course, we asked a question related to Joe Vandal's plan to export potato chips to Mars. What happens if you own a small farm like Roger and produce potato chips only for the domestic market? If Roger only sells in the US, Will Joe's World Trade mission have an impact on Roger's business? The answer is yes. World trade does affect the domestic market because Joe's business affects us through prices. When Joe exports the potato chips to Mars, the domestic price of potato chips on Earth will go up. Why? After trade, the amount of potato chips that Joe used to sell to the local market goes to Mars. Thus, the domestic supply of potato chips on Earth goes down. Therefore, price will go up. If you own a small farm, although your potato chips don't go to Mars, you still benefit from getting a higher domestic price due to trade. On the other hand, if Joe no longer sells those potato chips to Mars, those potato chips go back to the domestic market. What happens then? Suddenly, there will be an excess supply of potato chips in the domestic market, and the price will go down. The most important thing to remember is that in a globalized economy, prices are not determined at the local level, but at the global level. As an egg producer, you want to keep an eye on the global market trends. For example, Idaho produces more chickpeas than many other states in the US. But compared to India, where 70% of the world chickpeas are produced, we are small and we are price takers. Production in India influences the price we receive in the US. Therefore, it is a good idea to keep track of growing conditions in India. When their chickpea yields goes down, there will be a shortage of chickpeas in the global market. The price will go up. When their chickpea yield goes up, there will be a surplus of chickpeas in the global market. The price will go down. In our fourth video, we ask what is the balance of payments between Joe and the Martians. We often heard the term trade deficit many times in the news. But what is a trade deficit exactly? Join us for episode 3, What is a trade deficit? Thank you for watching this video. We look forward to you joining us for the next video in this series and hope you will find this as a benefit personally and potentially in helping your business.